Welcome, dear students. You are most welcome to the literature classes. The name of your text is Introducing Literature. Since you are all eagerly waiting for literature or even the learning of literature, I'm sure that this lesson is going to be uh, a, a base for what you are going to learn in the other classes. Actually, the title of the text is Introducing Literature, and I will be dealing with one module. And later on, after I have finished that, we will continue with the another module. So you have different teachers dealing with a particular module. This is how your text is divided. So you get a proper understanding of the that particular module, and this is why you can have a deep understanding of what is put into that particular section. So my part is all about the point of view. So in the world of literature, you have poetry, you have short story, you have novel, drama, films, a lot of things. And in all these, you will find a lot of people telling the story, or the story just moves on if it is a film. If it is a book, naturally, you find the author telling you the story. But in certain cases, you will find certain people telling the story, and in the other chapters, some other people, some other persons will be telling the story. So you have the storytelling by the characters themselves. So the author makes it possible to give you different viewpoints if he is trying to tell the story through more than one character. Okay, if you have read any books, you will be familiar with that, and I'm sure that you will be making use of the library. So, you have already listened to Adichie's talk on the point of view, and you find that it is indeed the story is written from the point of view of a person or even a character. Adichie speaks to you about how she got the the English education, and she was learning, or she learned the English literature, or she was thorough with that, and she used to read a lot of English books. So her world is dominated by the English books and the world created by the English author in those particular books. What she forgot is the fact that she comes from Africa, and she need not go around, or she need not get topics from the English books, but she can look around and find for herself a topic for her novel. And she speaks of how she created a work, and it was just writing and writing, and just copying something from the Englishman's point of view, and she forgot that it was not sincere to her own self. Somebody pointed out to her. So she started writing about Africa and her life in Africa and the experience. That is authentic, and it is from her own point of view. She speaks of the boy who comes to her family, to her house, and her mother used to say that he is very poor, he is very poor, and so the girl gets the feeling that indeed they are very poor. But when she visited their house, to her great astonishment, she finds beautiful art there made of the things that are available, and their whole family is artistic by nature. Poverty is there, and she had heard only the mother's version of the family life of these people, and when she went over there, she had something of a different world there. They are artistic, they can create a lot of beautiful things, and of course poverty is there. So she got only one point of view from her mother, and the other point of view was not presented to her. She had to go out there and see for herself to understand that. This is what happens most often. When a person narrates a story, he narrates the story in his own words, and what he feels of that is the outcome that you get from there. Unless someone intrudes and says, "This is not how the story was, and you'll have to listen to my own part, my own version of the story." This is why we call it as point of view. It is the perspective from which a writer tells a story. Usually, the author, writer means the author, tells a story. He can't write another person's story, can he? Okay. So, but there are certain writers who divide the story among three characters or even four characters, and each character will tell the story in their own way so that the story becomes really interesting. That is a different aspect. So next time when you read a novel or short story, you just see who is the narrator of the story. Okay. And if it is just one person who is narrating the story, or if you find more than one person narrating the story, that again is something that you will have to check for yourself. Every story we listen to or read is told or written from a certain point of view. Of course, this is how it is. I used to have these critics saying or analyzing the bedtime stories, or even you have the stories, fables that we all used to have. That is, there is a story of Cinderella, and there is a stepmother there. There is Snow White. Again, there is a stepmother there. So these are stories which you have heard from ancient times or from your very young days on. And these critics were of the opinion that, of course, there is a stepmother, and the stepmother is never a good person. That was the way the writers or the tellers of the story imagined or envisioned the world for us. And then some others had gone deeper to understand why there is a stepmother always in the story. And their reason comes out is like this: that is, in those ancient days, some women die in, most women die in childbirth. It was crucial times. Medicine was not there, not that efficient, and naturally, our medical field was not that extensive, and there was no one to care for them. So most of some of them die quite young, maybe with the birth of the first child. And so the child is there, and the young man, who is the father of the child, has no option except to marry another woman to look after the child. And that woman, maybe she will look after the child, but when she has another child, she will push this child to one side and she will become the ugly stepmother. Okay. So in all the stories, there is an ugly stepmother. Ugly in the sense not beautiful. I'm not speaking that the stepmother is not beautiful. Stepmother is beautiful. But at the same time, there is an ugliness to her character. So this stepmother character is always viewed with a dread by us when we were children. And you know that stepmother is that kind of a person. But nowadays, the world had changed, and you find some of the stepmothers much, much better than the mothers. I'm not saying that a mother is not good or anything, but at the same time, some stepmothers are doing much better than a mother, and the children should be really grateful for such a stepmother, because now you find that it is not the ugly stepmother that you'll find now. So, in the present stories, you will not find an ugly stepmother. So, the perspective from which the writer tells a story depends upon the circumstances. As I told you earlier, in the earlier fables and the earlier stories and fairy tales, we used to call of course, there is a fairy, and the fairy saves the girl from the ugly stepmother, and you have the several stories, whatever stories, Grimm's fairy tales, you take them, and in all these stories, almost all the stories, you will find a stepmother who is ugly, who is trying to do harm to the children and trying to drop them and cause danger to them. Of course, the first one is Cinderella. How Cinderella was given the duty of being there in the kitchen always, and her stepsisters and the stepmother go for ball and dancing, and they try to hide the fact that there is another girl there. So you find that Cinderella was given the beauty treatment by the fairy godmother, and she dances her way to the palace, and she has got glass slippers, and she drops because it is already time, and before 12 o'clock she'll have to return, and she does that, and the last day she forgets, and maybe there is a slip, and the glass slippers was dropped there. So you find here that this is the perspective from which the writer tells a story, which we call as the point of view of the storyteller. Okay, we listen to the story when it is read out to them, read out to us, or we are told that story, or even written. Some stories are written, and bedtime stories we are reading out to the child, because the child, when he or she goes to sleep, do not know, they have not started the alphabet, they are not at the age of reading a story. So the mother, or maybe there is an elder sister at home, maybe some of you have younger brothers and sisters, and you try to tell them a story. Next time you create a story of yourself and try to tell the story from your point of view. I'm sure that your siblings will listen to it avidly, and mind you, keep it short and tell them that the continuation is again in the next day. Okay, so that will be something for them to look forward to, and this is the way you create a story. So every story we listen to or read or is told or written from a certain point of view. There is a certain point of view for all the stories. Again, you find that in the fairy tales, there is, if you deviate, there is the Red Riding Hood, story of Red Riding Hood, and you will find that story here also. If you deviate from the path that is to be taken, unless you go through the straight path, there will be the wolf hiding out there. That again is an indication then the moral of the story is that you can't deviate from the moral path, and if you do so there will be disaster befalling. So this is again the moral of the story. So a writer or a storyteller has something to impart to the listeners or to the readers, and he or she does it with a certain point of view, and this is crucial. You'll have to see what is the point of view of the author in telling us a story like this. So what is the point of view? That is, point of view is the angle or the voice, the perspective from which a writer tells a story. So he is telling a story from a certain angle and from the voice of a certain group of people, and even the outlook from his point of view or from his stand. It is from that he is telling a story. You find several books written by Englishmen about Africa, and in all these books, the white man is writing about the Africans as he understood them, not as Africans understood Africans, because he has no idea about their language nor about their custom. To them, they are all savages. So he tells the story with that perspective and from the point of view of an Englishman. And to him and to an Englishman, these people are all savages who just do not behave like an Englishman, who do not speak English like these Englishmen, and so naturally they are to be graded as someone or some group different. And he makes some people, some writers do not make an understanding of the customs or even the language or the actions of these people, Africans, because they have no interest in that. They, whatever that they write will be accepted by the English people in England, and to them these are amusing stories. This is why Adichie speaks of such kind of writing, because she had been brought up by reading English literature created by Englishmen, not by Africans or by any other person outside of England. So naturally, she gets the point of view of the Englishman and not the point of view of an African. This is where the culture come in, and you can view certain things or review certain things from a different perspective or outlook. A story may be told from the point of view of a writer or the point of view of a character who plays an important role in the text. In the text means in the text in the book. The pronoun I is used here. If you find a story where you find the I went there and I saw these people playing there, and I understood that this is not to be, and things like that. If the pronoun I is used here, then this is the first person point of view. The first person point of view. You will find as examples Treasure Island, which is written by R.L. Stevenson, that is Robert Louis Stevenson, and the main character, Jim Hawkins, is the narrator there. Jim Hawkins, as a young boy, he is narrating the story of how he traveled and how he reached the Treasure Island and the adventures he had. All these are narrated, a young boy's adventure. Then you have a famous book called The Adventures of Sherlock Holmes. You know that Sherlock Holmes is more detective, and it was written by Arthur Conan Doyle. And you find that it is not Sherlock Holmes or Arthur Conan Doyle who tells you the story. It is Dr. Watson who is the constant companion of Sherlock Holmes, and whom Sherlock Holmes consults, and it is he who writes down the adventures they have. Because in whatever adventures that Sherlock Holmes whatever adventure that he comes across, Dr. Watson will also be roped in, means he will also be dragged in, and the two of them will play a very important role. And this Dr. Watson is a very famous character, as famous as Sherlock Holmes himself. So in Treasure Island, it was Jim Hawkins who told the story or who narrated the story, because R.L. Stevenson is making Jim Hawkins narrate the story. So it becomes quite interesting because it is from the point of view of a young boy, and as young boys, you will be youngsters, you will be quite interested in reading the Treasure Island, which is an adventure story. On the other hand, the Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, which is a very hefty book, a very heavy book, but at the same time, you can read at least one adventure after the other whenever you get time. Nowadays, you get the complete Arthur Conan Doyle, both in Malayalam and English, and even in films also. You find certain films of Sherlock Holmes where you find Dr. Watson, who is very strict and formal, and Sherlock Holmes comes quite unruly, and he comes to Dr. Watson's clinic and his laboratory, and puts in a question, and it is from there the whole story will begin. And the two of them are involved one after the other. Dr. Watson, without knowing what is happening, will be dragged into it, and Sherlock Holmes will tell him that it is okay, you just pull in, and Dr. Watson will be with him throughout. But there is a difference. He will sit and write down their adventure one after the other. So Arthur Conan Doyle uses Dr. Watson to narrate the story, which he calls as the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So it is from the point of view of Dr. Watson that you get the stories of Sherlock Holmes and not from the point of view of Sherlock Holmes, because Sherlock Holmes do not talk much, but Dr. Watson keeps diary or he writes down whatever that has happened to them. And it is in this form that you get the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So, the Watson's perspective of his friend Sherlock Holmes, sometimes he is so angry with Sherlock Holmes because he is so irritating, he intrudes into his personal life, and so on. But at the same time, they are good friends. And whenever Sherlock Holmes comes to his clinic, his lab, Watson knows that there is going to be an adventure. So Watson is also interested. So the two of them plan on a lot of things, and Sherlock Holmes rather plans and gets the help of Watson, and together they solve a lot of things. So this is the adventure of Sherlock Holmes. The author is Arthur Conan Doyle, but it is Dr. Watson who is the narrator. But in Treasure Island, it is Jim Hawkins, the young man, who is the narrator, and it makes good reading also. It is written by R.L. Stevenson, and there is also a film by the same name. And Sherlock Holmes, you have several stories, and two famous films are there, and with your famous actor, English actor, and you will be really enjoying that, because when it is a film, you will find sometimes in one film you find a Dr. Watson beginning the narration, and then story takes place one after the other. But when you read the novel, you will find that it is Dr. Watson's narration one after the other. So that point of view is there. It is not Watson narrates it saying that that I is used, first person point of view. You will find that the intrusion comes when Sherlock Holmes suddenly intervenes and talks and things like that. But even then, it is the first person point of view that is presented here. So here you have in a story several points of view, but we are now taking only one point of view at present, because since because you are beginners to the class, you may find it difficult to understand. So I'm going taking it very slow at a time, and we can really go speedier when we reach the third or fourth class. Okay, and meantime, try to get hold of books and try to read those books and see what type of narration it is there, because you are literature students. It's not enough that you understood the story proper as such. That is okay. Who is telling the story, and what is the point of view that is presented there? And is it the first person point of view, or do you have more than one character speaking there? All these you can note down whenever you read a novel. Okay. And next time when you come to the college, you are most welcome to the library. And I'm doing this again, I know, because I am really interested in reading books, and those books are really selected with you in mind, with the youngsters in mind. So you'll find a lot of readable stories in our library. Take one out and try to read it. Sometimes you may find it difficult to read an English book as such, and many of you have not read many English books, maybe one or two, but this is something that you'll have to do. That is reading part, and unless you read, you will not be finding it much enjoyable to study literature, because literature means you'll have to read lots and lots, read. Any way you can read. You can read through Kindle, you can read the book as such, any way you can read. But reading is a must. Okay. It's not enough that you watch the films. Films are indeed entertaining, but reading is another aspect. The sentence construction, the creation of the characters, and deeper understanding of the characters. Everything takes place when words are put one after the other. And the point of view, of course, matters. So, all in all, we can say that uh, till now we have read the books for enjoyment, and now you are going to read the book whether it is written in the first person point of view or it is written in another point of view. So, that also is very important. So, when you study literature, you will have to know that fiction is a genre of literature which really transports us to another world, which makes us, because in Treasure Island you are transported to a lot of other adventures, and naturally you are indeed you really enjoy the adventure that happens to Jim Hawkins. And to a boy in England who had never been anywhere else, this is really something opening up the world before him. And for you also, I think it will be a world opening before you when you read Treasure Island. You can get hold of the book, and you can get cheaper copies. You can even buy one, which will not be much, and read it from the you can get it from the bookstore in our place, or even Sherlock Holmes also. You find the whole Sherlock Holmes as such, which will be difficult for you to read because they have used a small print there, or else you can uh, read the smaller versions, means one story published like that, not the whole thing as such. And other novels also, because there are lots of novels. And if you are really interested, if you really want to get to know literature and the important books that are to read, then you can contact me. My number is already there, and I can suggest some books, and books which are available in your nearest bookstore. You needn't go anywhere. And some books are there already in the Kindle. You need not pay too much of money for that if you have a Kindle with you. Okay. So whatever it is, you will have to read. That is a must. Okay. And in the next class, we'll be dealing with a detailed account of the different points of view. One you have already seen, and that is the pronoun I used by the first person point of view. And you have the third person and polyphony, everything is there. We'll learn that in the short time that we have with us. And mind you, one semester is 90 working days. Okay, at the end of which you will have a university examination, and even before that you will have one test paper or two test papers or internal examination assignment, a whole lot of things. Okay, and you are most welcome to that. You will really enjoy doing all these assignments, presentations, seminars, everything. All these will get you marks and will help you to gather knowledge. That is again a must for you. Okay, thank you. See you in the next class.